We're fortunate in that we have a lot of people with the CISSP certification along with the ISSEP certification. I bring that up because there are only a few thousand of them in the world that have that, and we have like 7. And we're always looking for more. And we're always encouraging our ISSOs and ISSEs to continue that education, and we can garner better positions for you, making you more money, making the company more money, the more certifications that you have. It's a win-win for everybody.
Welcome to Security Cleared Jobs, Who's Hiring and How, the podcast for cleared professionals looking for new opportunities and career advice. We go behind the scenes with recruiters and hiring managers from leading cleared employers to uncover the information you need to make a smart career move.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast, Security Cleared Jobs, Who's Hiring and How. I'm the new host, Bob Wheeler, and I'm really grateful for the big shoes that I'm stepping into. So I want to give a big shout out to Kathleen and Rachel, who hosted this podcast for so long. You can still catch that duo. They're still podcasting. They're doing some stuff on Exit Buddy, veteran stories to guide you. It's a must listen. You really got to check it out. They're talking to transitioning military people, and we're going to have a link to their new podcast in the notes. But I'm glad to be here and got a little special co-host here. This is Sarah McMurrow. Sarah, you want to say hello and then tell us who we're talking to today?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be part of the podcast today. I'm extra excited because we have Alan Scott here from Columbia Technology Partners joining us. And he is the Director of People and Culture at CTP. And you might also know him as an announcer for 98 Rock in Baltimore. So he'll tell us a little bit about that as we go on. Welcome, Alan.
Why, thank you. Thank you both. And Bob, I feel honored being your very first guest. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Alan, you have a really fascinating backstory. Can you just walk us through, your path from both recruiting for the intelligence community and how that went into a career in radio? Or is that even related? Just give us a little story.
It's an interesting story. I started many, many years ago doing radio. I remember telling my parents that I wanted to be the guy in the radio. And fortunately, I've managed to spend a large portion of my career doing just that. That actually branched out into television, where I did some stuff with Bloomberg, specifically Bloomberg Government, doing radio and television there, along with helping them launch their BGov product. That led to an interview during a past sequester with the president of Columbia Technology Partners. The show that I was doing focused on the business implications of government actions, and obviously that was a big one. Small business being impacted. How? By the sequester. Well, he found out later that I was then let go from Bloomberg along with a host of other people. And he said, you know what? I think I want to bring you on board. I'm like, what am I going to do? Right. And he said, I want you to do business development. And I said, I know absolutely nothing about that. I understand the appropriations process and where the money's coming from and how it gets to the contractors. But from there, I don't know. And he goes, you've got this. So I said, okay, I came on board. And what did I do? I leaned on radio as I normally do. And I developed a program called Ready to Prime that ended up on the radio in Washington, D.C. And it basically focused on how small businesses go about becoming ready to prime their first contract. Now, why did I do that? I kind of called it BD 2.0, Business Development 2.0, because I scheduled interviews with all the people I couldn't get to talk to at agencies because they're too busy to return my calls, or it just became very difficult. They didn't know who I was. I went in as the press, interviewed them, found out everything I needed to know, created a program, and then used it to my benefit before it ever aired. And so that has since evolved into now my role as Director of People and Culture here at Columbia Technology Partners. Long story, but an interesting path. So they are kind of connected in that way.
Well, I think it's a cool story, Alan. I think that's an awesome story. And we'll might circle back to that later on a little bit more. But, besides your story, tell us about Columbia Technology Partners. I mean, the organization that you're with, besides being great at hiring people like yourself, what does the company do and what kind of work are you guys supporting? I know it's intelligence community. Is that right?
Correct. We work almost exclusively in the intelligence community in the central Maryland area, if you're familiar with that. Mm-hmm. Have our headquarters over in Columbia, and we're like a management consulting firm that has dedicated its life to solving a bunch of complex challenges that the Department of Defense faces on a regular basis. Utilizing the skill sets that we have, we provide a lot of systems engineers, database engineers, ISOs and ISSEs. We kind of cut our teeth on security. The president of the company was a naval officer, as were several people who are currently employed by Columbia Technology Partners. We're all in the Navy, and they were all security people. Obviously, working on a nuclear sub or a nuclear ship, security is pretty important. So they take their jobs seriously. And we have been fortunate enough to be able to provide guidance through the risk management framework and a lot of the cybersecurity needs that our customers are clamoring for in order to get things authorized. We make sure that they don't run afoul of anything and everything is buttoned up the way it should. So that's just kind of we're a services provider basically, but our primary service is going to be cybersecurity.
Okay. So with all of that being said, who are you hiring? What kind of skill sets are you usually looking for?
ISOs, ISSEs. The big thing is we're looking for the alphabet soup. Information system security engineers with a CISSP or an ISSEP certification. Those are the unicorns that we're always looking for. We are looking for cloud service providers, cloud engineers, not the providers, but we work with all of the major cloud service providers out there. And we're always looking for people to help us in not only migrating and setting up safe cloud infrastructure, but securing that infrastructure as well. There is always a need on the contracts that we have for skilled professionals like that. But the key is, and we get a lot of resumes all day long from people who are certified cloud architects, you got to have that clearance. Our customer is never going to let you even touch a keyboard if you don't have that clearance.
That makes a lot of sense. And I understand you're focused on full scope poly specifically in the Maryland area, which are on site, right?
Correct. Correct. Okay. We do have some remote positions. Oddly enough, there are a few remote positions that you can work even with a full scope poly. You'll need to come in from time to time, but you can do stuff on an unclassified level. And then we utilize cross-domain solutions and such to help transfer that over to a high side or a classified environment where it can continue to be worked. The secret sauce is added there.
Yes. And I bet those are pretty sought after positions.
Extremely sought after, especially after COVID. People wanting to continue that remote relationship with their employer. They're few and far between, but they do pop up from time to time. And
do you have positions in other regions outside of Maryland?
We do. We have, we're on a contract with a large company that provides work in Aberdeen, and we're at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base up in Dayton, Ohio. Pretty cool place, Wright-Patterson. I actually ran across something that I didn't even realize was there. Went to visit them recently and got a chance to hang out at Hangar 18, the place where the aliens were supposedly brought after being found. And, so it was kind of cool, actually. I'm like, this is Hangar 18? No way.
Well, what a great selling point, right?
Yeah.
And, something fun to talk about.
The level of clearance is a little lower. You only need a secret clearance to work in those locations. And it's actually very cool work on supercomputers. I'd never really been around such a large number of supercomputers in my life. And it was an eye-opening experience and pretty cool, the work that they're doing up there.
Wow. You had mentioned a little bit about the stuff that you're always looking for. You said like cloud architect, information systems, the cyber type stuff with all those certifications. Yep. I want to, kind of break this down. When someone says they're always looking for those types of things, I mean, I guess that means if I'm that kind of a job seeker and I've got that kind of clearance, should I just be reaching out to you even if I don't see something that's posted on your website?
Absolutely. We can always use good resumes. And to peel the curtain back a little bit, I'm sure you guys are already aware and everybody that's listening knows how this works. We bid contracts well before they're ever published. We're always looking to submit representative resumes. Those representative resumes are people that can turn into full-time positions. So if we have your resume on file and you provide a skill set that we're going to need on a future contract, rest assured, we're going to contact you and go, hey, we have this up. You may very well be gainfully and happily employed by now, but we're going to reach out to you and we're going to say, hey, if you're interested, here's what we're going to do. Here's how it can work. We can get a contingent offer letter in place with you, and then submit that resume as a representative resume along with the proposal to say, these are the type of people that we can bring on board. So please do. Regardless of whether you currently have a job, you are seeking a job, or comfortable where you are, we would love to just have a conversation with you, because you never know what the world could hold for you with another company. And maybe we can present you with a better offer that you currently have. I'm not trying to steal people from other companies. I just want to make sure you're happy.
Well, what about, so I had this really interesting question, and maybe it's been prepped, I don't know, but if you had to write a radio commercial about your company culture there at CTP, what would that sound like?
That's an interesting question, because as you guys know, we're moving into a new facility. So our culture is about to change dramatically. Typically, and I don't know that I could write a commercial for it, but because we're building that new culture now, we finally have an office where we can bring people in to hang out. We're if I could turn this thing around and show you, we've got 10 75-inch color TVs that we're about to mount on the walls in here. We're hooking video game systems up to every one of them. We're going to have all kinds of fun activities. We've got cornhole here. We want to make the work life as fun as your home life. I'm coming just short of calling this a family, because obviously they're coworkers. As the HR person, I'm going to say we are all happy coworkers. I'm not going to say we're one big happy family, but I'd like to think that we are. We are going to be hosting all kinds of events here. We're going to be bringing people into our spaces. Our doors will always be open to not only our staff, but those who are considering employment here. We want you to see that this is a happy environment. Now, 99% of the people who work for the company don't work in the office, but I want them to know that they're welcome here at any time. We've got all kinds of things to do. Currently, we're taking people out to dinners, taking people out to lunches. We have happy hours every month, all in an effort to get people together and kind of hang out. I'm not saying we're forced friends. I look at my own life where I go, my friends are the parents of my children's friends. That's the circle of friends that I hang out with. It's kind of like that here, but we'd like to say that you're not forced. You actually want to start coming in and hanging out with these people because you work with them on site, and why not get to know them outside of site? So that's a really long commercial. That'd be more like an infomercial.
It sounded effective to me, though.
But that's kind of what I'm talking about here, and it's only going to get better.
Well, you have all those TVs that you'll have on the wall that you can put your commercial right up on there.
Yeah, it'll be running in a loop.
Well, and you know what? It sounded you could really sense the genuineness too. It didn't sound like a commercial because it wasn't like you were trying to overly sell it, but it sounds like it's a culture that you're pretty proud of, and it sounds like
I don't think I'll need to overly sell it. It's funny you say that. I know there are people out there who are like, "Come work with us. We've got this. We've got that." You come here and spend an afternoon with us, and you're going to be like, "All right, these are cool people. I want to come work with them." We're going to have, this is kind of funny. We're going to have a TV towards the entrance behind the glass doors that'll scroll all the fun stuff that we do. So as people walk by, they'll be like, "Oh wow, I want to work there." That looks like fun.
Well, let's go back to some serious questions here, Alan. If I see how cool it is at CTP and I want to work there, but you said I got to have all these alphabets of certs, you got a strong emphasis on continuing education certifications, so, does that also affect the culture too, that emphasis on certifications and education?
It does. Everybody is not interested in doing continuing education. You'll never find a company where everybody says, "Oh my gosh, I've got to get that next certification." There are certifications that are required for you to do your job. And then there are certifications that would be nice to have. Will we reward you if you go get those certifications? Absolutely. We'll not only pay for it, but upon successful completion of the class or training or whatever, we're going to pay for the training you took, and we're going to pay for the exam itself as well. That does a couple of things for us. Number one, it keeps you happy because this is something that you wanted to go after and do to better yourself. Number two, it makes us happy and it makes us look better on site as we're able to then market you with more skills than what you came in with. And that's because you took the initiative. Will everybody do that? No. but we have enough of them that are willing to do it that it becomes like a competition. I'm going to go get this cert now. I'm going to go get that cert now. It also helps us on site when we are presenting you, employee A, as a key person on a new contract. We're fortunate in that we have a lot of people with the CISSP certification along with the ISSEP certification. I bring that up because there are only a few thousand of them in the world that have that, and we have like 7. And we're always looking for more. And we're always encouraging our ISSOs and ISSEs to continue that education. And fortunately, they're of the ilk that they're ready to go do that. We can garner better positions for you, making you more money, making the company more money, the more certifications that you have. That's why we look at it that way. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
And during the pre-call, I'm told that you talked about some first-class benefits. We already know that we can play Fortnite when we come to the office on the TVs. Do you want to highlight some of the other benefits for the listeners?
Those games will be seasonal, by the way. During football season,
it comes out in seasons, right? Of course, perfect.
We're going to be playing NBA 2K, NFL 2K. Depending on the season that's up. But anyway,
fair.
The tournaments, all kinds of fun stuff here. PTO, generous PTO. We've got something that we actually just talked about today, and it wasn't something that we really realized we were doing, but I'll make the announcement. We made it official today. If you are on short-term disability, a lot of companies, when you go out on short-term disability, you then have to pay your portion of the medical benefits because the company no longer contributes for your benefits. We're going to do that for you. You won't have to worry about taking that now decreased paycheck that you're receiving and writing the company a check back for your medical benefits, your portion of the medical benefit coverage. We're going to cover that for you. So you don't have to worry about it. It's more money in your pocket when you're only bringing home, 66% of whatever your weekly salary is. That's always beneficial. We pay your deductible on your medical insurance. So when you sign up as open enrollment is rolling around and you've got a deductible, a super high deductible on your plan, we're going to front load that on an HSA card for you and hand it to you. So if it's $3,000, $3,500, whatever it is, you're going to get a card with that much money on it already. So you don't have to worry about it. Those are just a couple of the things that we do with regard to medical benefits, but there's so many others that we could, consider. Pet insurance, the potential for auto insurance. We might be able to get you onto a plan, gym memberships, lots of things to ensure that your entire total compensation package, which is the key phrase that everybody's using today, is up to snuff with everyone else. And if you can think of something that you like and you're curious about, we'll add it. We have the ability for people to elect whether they'd like to collect, if they were out on long-term disability, do they collect that pre-tax or post-tax? You can pay into it and get it pre-tax, but we've got it arranged where it's just a plus up to your salary and you pay it on your taxes at the end of the year. So if you take it, you're going to get it without having to pay taxes on it because you've already paid them. So all these little things that we can do to make your life that much happier, and hopefully turn that into a long tenure here at CTP.
I'm loving all the stuff you're talking about. And I love the fact too, that it sounds like you guys like to have a good time, but this kind of leads me to my next question. I've heard that you guys will take a look at people's social media accounts. I mean, is there such a thing as having too good a time on my social media accounts that might deter me from being a part of the CTP team?
We do look at potential employee social media accounts, and we also look at, current employee social media accounts. And don't get me wrong, we're all under continuous evaluation with the clearance that we have. So everybody is constantly evaluated, but they may not necessarily be looking at your social media, but we do because it kind of lends an eye into what your character is like. We want to make sure that we have people who are of I don't want to say along the level that we're on, because that sounds elitist, but I want to make sure that you're not espousing things that we don't necessarily believe in or could be considered offensive. Make sure you're a good cultural fit. We want to see the kind of news you're sharing. Are you sharing things that could be considered controversial? There's nothing wrong with that, but is it of a violent nature that could be considered controversial, or something that could actually put you in a bad light, where if we were to bring you in a room with a customer and that hot button is triggered, what's going to happen? Inappropriate, offensive, negative impressions, things like that. Those are all things that I believe every company is looking at these days to ensure not only to protect themselves, but to protect the image, mainly to protect the image of the company. I'm not going to say not only to protect themselves. That's exactly why they're doing it, to protect the image of the company.
Well, especially in the intelligence community, it's even a bigger issue.
Correct. We have access to a lot of information that others may not know, mission specific, things like that. And your views on those should be kept neutral, especially if you're walking in and out of those spaces.
Hey, these are all great tips that we've got, Alan. Just in a general sense, though, too, we like to help all job seekers as well. Are there any just good tips that you would give to any cleared professional as far as just in their job search in general? Is there anything that, like a good first step to get people going in the right direction?
I would say utilize any networking opportunities you have, especially within the area in which you're looking to obtain a position. Here in our area, we're huge in FCA Central Maryland. Fort Meade Alliance is another big one. A lot of the people that go to these events are not only you've got a lot of just regular people coming in, staff members, but you've got a lot of business development people. You've got a lot of strategy, chiefs of strategy, owners of companies showing up at a lot of these events. And it's a great opportunity to network, to talk to them. Those are the people that are looking into the future at contracts that are coming out. And if your resume, like I said, fits something that they may think you would be good at, you've got that resume now that they could submit as a representative resume of the type of people they could bring in. Or they may already have an opening that you could slip right into once your clearance transfers over. Yeah, networking is probably the biggest thing I could think of.
I like it.
Be careful on LinkedIn. While there's a lot of stuff out there on LinkedIn, there's also a lot of phishing going on at the same time. And the most important thing I would say is if you're in a cleared position, make sure you get that resume reviewed before you ever share it. You can put it into pre-publication, and they'll go through and make sure you're not sharing anything that's classified.
Definitely. And so someone could have a really interesting hiring story where they met, someone at one of those networking events. I know Bob had a similar experience when he joined ClearedJobs.Net from a networking type of thing. But do you have a memorable hiring story that you might want to share?
When I do get involved, the ones that I remember the most are the ones that took the longest. I've got several people that are still here and have been here for years, but there's one in particular who I worked on for about 2 years. And every couple of months, we'd go to lunch. Nothing fancy. You're on site, obviously. What's close to site? Let's go to lunch. And we met there for, every month and a half or so, and just talked about, the aspirations that they had for their career, just became, friends over time. And then till they were finally ready to say, you know what, if you have an opening in this role, I'm ready to jump. And we found her. We got a position for her. She loves it. She's been here almost 4 years now. Absolutely love it. So that's one, I'm always checking in. And as it turns out, she lives like right up the street from me. I had no idea. So probably ran into her at the grocery store a million times and didn't even realize it until afterwards. We had an issue with something here and I had to drop something off at her house. And I'm like, no way.
I know you.
I know you. It was pretty funny. And she's still a dear friend here at the company. And I'm glad that I was able to convince her to join us. And like I said, it wasn't pressure. If it was pressure, I would have been like, come on, do this now. Come on. But no, you people are ready to make that move, especially if they're gainfully employed and happy in their own time. And you just have to be willing to wait them out.
Right.
And I did.
Well, that was definitely a networking thing, right? Just a very long period of networking. And in the end, you made a friend and the company gained a new employee. So how can people get in touch with you after this, Alan? I mean, a lot of exciting things happening at CTP. So how can people learn more? How can they talk to you?
Easiest way to get in touch with me is recruiting@ctp-web.com. recruiting@charlestompaul-web.com.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Alan. I think that what I really grabbed from this is that CTP likes to have a good time. You work hard, you play hard. We're really excited to share this with our audience. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I truly appreciate this opportunity and look forward to working with you guys at the next job fair.
We'll see you there.
Sarah, talking to Alan, that was a really great interview. That was so much fun. there's a lot of stuff he had to talk about that was really cool. But, one of the things I thought was just his networking story of how he got a job doing something where they kind of came to him and said, do you think you could do this? And he was like, I wasn't even thinking about that. He's a success in the networking piece. He's in the job that he likes. And he's also finding people to work at Columbia Technology Partners who the same way. So I thought his networking stuff was really great. Was there anything that you really caught your eye on that or caught your ear on that interview?
Well, I really loved what you were talking about, but I know I mentioned at the end of the actual episode that it just seems like they have a really good time. And if you don't follow, Columbia Technology Partners on LinkedIn, I mean, they always have fun stuff posted too. So whether you're going in to play cornhole in their new office, or you're learning that it's National Chewing Gum Day, or you want to play Fortnite, there are a lot of options. So it sounds like it's just a really fun place to be. But again, working hard.
Yeah. So thanks again for everybody for joining us. We want to just throw back out there. If you're liking this kind of content, please like this podcast, subscribe to it, download it. We are happy to have you here with us. We're happy to share what we're learning. And we were very grateful that we had Alan from Columbia Technology Partners. So have a good one, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.